You're watching Swipe. Coming up, farewell fabric, how technology is changing the way we dress. Amazon gets twitchy over gaming, details on its billion-dollar purchase. How to train a robot, artificial intelligence moves closer to reality. And we build a mountain in this week's Games Review. Hello and welcome to Swipe. This week we're here at the London College of Fashion. We thought, what with London Fashion Week fast approaching, now would be a good time to look at the way technology is changing what we wear, how we wear it and how we buy it. Can the fashion industry keep up with itself? Jewellery out of a printer. Yes, that's right. This fashtech startup sells custom-made 3D printed items. Roberta Luca is one of a number of entrepreneurs using technology to revolutionise fashion.
This would not be possible to be made in any other method beyond 3D printing.
The jewellery here is made of nylon, but the team has just started printing items in 18-karat gold, and it's unlikely they'll stop there. As far as they're concerned, fashion is entering a new era of customisation.
These days we all live in smaller places and smaller wardrobes as well. You don't have space for all of your dresses. So it will be fantastic in the future if you just press a button and you'll be able to 3D print your dress for the evening.
Talking of dresses, remember Lady Gaga's flying one? Now there's a way to fuse technology and fashion. Designers at Studio XO, the company that worked on the world first, are all about making science fiction science fact. They're even looking at the concept of digital skin, involving luminescent micro-robots inside your veins which can make your skin glow in patterns. Meanwhile, at the London College of Fashion, tomorrow's designers are busy experimenting with ideas, but not everyone's convinced of the benefits of emerging tech.
I mean, personally, I try to avoid technology as much as I can. I mean, I work a lot with hand smocking and embroidery. There are machines for that, but I just find it a lot more intricate when you try to do it yourself.
The school's head of innovation says big-name tech companies have been reaching out for fashion advice. This skirt is the result of a link-up between the college and Nokia for London Fashion Week in February. No one's expecting you to wear it to the shops, but creations like these are a way for tech companies to build relationships with fashion designers.
I think what's held fashion and technology back to this point is the fact that technology brands have great tech, but aren't great at producing fashionable items. And so the reason they're engaging at Fashion Week is to use the expertise that designers have to create truly breathtaking projects and examples of what fashion and wearable technology could look like.
And technology's influence on fashion isn't confined to the catwalk. The way we pick and purchase our clothes is changing too. Some websites now allow you to walk around a store when shopping online. Others enable you to virtually try on every possible size of your chosen item in just a few clicks. So fashion fans, hang on to your hats or hard drives. The future's looking remarkably fabric-free. Gemma Morris, Sky News. Well, joining me now is Corinna Novis, who's a senior lecturer here at the London College of Fashion. Corinna, I suppose you have quite a role in creating the next generation of fashion designers. And given there's so much new technology now, is it hard to keep across that? Is it hard to teach that?
It is definitely, because academia, we look to what's going on in industry and we work as much as possible to bridge the gap between theory and practice. So we encourage, for instance, these are our most recent graduates to stay abreast of all the news with all the technology sources that we have here, like WGSN, trend forecasting and such like.
So these projects from your recent graduates, I mean, they look like they're probably quite heavily design based in a traditional sense, but going forward, might you have to have courses that are fashion design and coding, for example?
Well, we already have started developing some hybrid courses because that seems to be what the industry wants. They want students who can design, students who can shoot things, students who can write, and also who can blog and tweet about all of those different things. So at LCF we're designing courses which have each of those categories inside of them.
How do you teach fashion designers or young up-and-coming fashion designers who are incredibly creative to then look at coding and bring coding into their designs?
It's hard, it's challenging, but we try and get them to see that stuff as a source of inspiration. So, for instance, a fashion designer might look at the structure of clothing or something to influence maybe a silhouette or a surface texture design that they might use. And then alternatively, we also try and get them to understand the power of clothing, if you like, to expose them and their brand after they graduate.
Okay, so would that be via kind of social media and...
Yeah, definitely. Looking at how are they going to showcase their work and their brand identity using social and digital technologies.
So then it can be the whole package.
Definitely. And that helps them if they're working for themselves, but also increasingly brands. As I said, they want students who can, or graduates who can have those wide variety of skills.
Fascinating
Digital
stuff.
literacy.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for talking to us, Corinna Novis.
Thank you.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, a virtual toddler. That and more of the week's tech stories. But first, Amazon splashed out £584 million this week on gaming streaming site Twitch. But why did it buy it? Will Sargent's been finding out.
In just 3 years, Twitch has become the most popular game streaming site on the web. And this probably explains why Amazon decided to buy it. Put simply, it's a website that lets people share their gaming experiences and allows them to watch the best players compete. But why is it worth so much money?
I'm a bit dubious whether they have paid too much for it. I think they bought Twitch because Twitch is a huge website. Like, I think they revealed back in February it was the 4th largest in terms of peak traffic behind Netflix, Google and Amazon, and it's an absolutely huge website, 55 million unique users a month, and it's just a massive broadcaster. It just happens to be online, and it happens to be about video games.
As Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has said, broadcasting and watching gameplay is a global phenomenon, and buying Twitch potentially opens up a huge new source of revenue. So should we expect Amazon to start making changes to its new purchase?
Sometimes publishers use Twitch as a way to show games that aren't yet out. So I can very much imagine a world where Ubisoft show Far Cry 4 for 2 hours, and in the bottom right-hand corner there's a little button, a little e-commerce link, so you can pre-order the game through Amazon. You never have to leave Twitch. And they could do that for all existing games. No matter what stream you're watching, you can buy or pre-order the game straight from Amazon very seamlessly.
Amazon is already a huge player in the gaming industry. They're one of the biggest retailers and have also started making their own games. So what does the Twitch deal say about Amazon?
I think it shows that Amazon are really gaming savvy. Emmett Shear, the CEO of Twitch, said this when the acquisition was made. He said that Amazon have a very strong vision about the games industry, and the fact that they recognise the importance of Twitch and wanted to acquire it, I think shows that they do have definite plans in the games industry, whether that's as a retailer, because they've bought a couple of developers in recent years. I still think it's unsure, but I think it's definitely a step in that direction.
Websites like Twitch will never have mass appeal, but the video games industry is growing fast, and this deal could prove to be a very shrewd move. Will Sargent, Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, dancing in a dungeon. Yep, you heard me right. But first, here's a roundup of anything you might have missed this week. Google has released video of an ambitious futuristic aircraft project it's working on, the latest to emerge from its X lab. The internet giant is creating drones designed to bypass traffic and speed up parcel deliveries. It comes amid an escalating technological arms race with rival Amazon, which is also experimenting with drones to carry products to customers. A virtual toddler who can read basic words and recognise symbols has been created by a team in New Zealand. Baby X can mimic facial expressions and respond to positive feedback. Auckland Bioengineering Institute wants to use the system to recreate brain activity and neural pathways. Scientists in the US are working on a project to help robots learn skills by looking at videos and documents on the web. Right now, Cornell University's RoboBrain is downloading 1 billion images, thousands of YouTube clips and 100 million how-to documents. Once the data's been collected, developers will be able to use it on their own robots. An app developed by London Air Ambulance could save lives by alerting off-duty first responders to emergencies. If you see an accident, you simply open up the Good Sam app and press Call for Help. It then picks up your location, dials 999 and nearby responders get an alert. So far, 1,500 people have signed up.
It's like shouting loudly for help. So a bystander who doesn't know what they're doing can shout for help, but that won't go through walls. And the idea of this app is that it goes through walls, it alerts people who are in the immediate vicinity within a couple hundred metres who can provide help.
Facebook says it's cracking down on so-called clickbait articles, those with eye-catching headlines but hardly any real content. Because they get a lot of clicks, the posts get shown to more people and appear higher up in the newsfeed. The social network says it'll start focusing more on how long people spend reading articles rather than just the number of clicks they get. Now, you know how we love to mix things up in our games review section. Well, this week we've thrown one in you don't even have to play. You just sit back and relax. In fact, why don't you do that now? Here's journalist Matt Lees.
Mountain is strange because it's not really a game. It's just a mountain. And you can play it on the PC or you can play it on, your iPad, but it's best on something like an iPad or an iPhone, something you can just leave to one side and let it do its own thing, because it just does do its own thing. It's just a mountain, and it has weather, and you can spin it around, but that's all you can do. And it doesn't sound like any form of recommendation, but there's something a bit eerie about it. Every few minutes it makes a kind of weird dong noise, and then the mountain says something or thinks something, sometimes about how it feels lonely. It's weirdly melancholic, but quite entrancing. And it's only £1, but it isn't really a game, but it is quite interesting. Crypt of the NecroDancer is a lot of fun.
Those monsters, driven mad by music.
Basically, you're this little character moving through a dungeon, killing monsters, all very standard stuff. But it's a rhythm action game, which means, like with something like Guitar Hero, you have to perfectly time every action to the beat of the music. And the music's fantastic. It's got this really upbeat, fun, sort of disco soundtrack. And even when you're walking around past shopkeepers and stuff, they sing along with it. It's very silly, but it's kind of held together by the fact that it has really, really cool music. And it's just a fun idea. As you go deeper through the dungeon, the tempo and the tracks just get faster and faster and faster, and it gets more intense. It's a lot of fun.
Of the NecroDancer.
Halfway is kind of like a more indie game version of XCOM, which was a game that came out about 2 or 3 years ago. Fun, save the world against aliens. It's really hard. If you haven't played XCOM, I'd probably play that first. But if you have played XCOM and you love that, then Halfway it's kind of fun. It's a bit lighter and it's a bit more narrative based, a bit more linear. But basically, you're on a spaceship. You've all woken up from cryosleep, and surprise, surprise, half the crew have been turned into weird alien things. And it's kind of a turn-based strategy grid thing where you've got to move around, hide behind walls, shoot the baddies. It's not perfect, and it is a bit rough around the edges, but it is quite a lot of fun. Divinity Original Sin is a proper throwback to 1990s RPGs, the stuff that came out just before the turn of the millennium, like Baldur's Gate, and all these other games that won't mean anything to anyone who doesn't specifically remember them. But if you do remember them, Divinity is a lot of fun just because it really brings back the spirit of those games. You have a party, you go around solving mysteries and killing monsters. I think there's a lot of really clever stuff with magic. You can make it rain, and then you can turn the rain into a big frozen lake that people will slip up on, and you can melt the lake with fire. It's really interesting and really smart. Bit shaky around the edges, but a brilliant nostalgia trip for those who miss that kind of thing.
Well, that's it for this week, but don't forget you can keep up to date with all the latest breaking tech stories on Sky News for iPad, our smartphone apps, and skynews.com. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.